So today I'm going to be talking you through the double process stamping. Double processing involves stamping two images at the same time. Today we'll be using this one here off Liliana 02, and then we'll be picking up one of these hearts to go on top. To start off with, I've done a black base. This is just Sinful Colours, black on black, and I've done 2 coats of that just to give us something to stamp on top of. Now, the double stamping process, what I'll do is I'll just go through and do it once so you can see it, then I'll talk you through it. Because it's a little bit more complicated than your standard stamping, it does take a little bit more speed. So you do have to work quite quickly. Because you're stamping twice, you don't want everything to dry out. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to be using this as our first one, and then the heart as our second image, our defining image. So the first one I'm going to be using Moyu red, and then I'm going to be using Messy Mansion silver on the hearts. Alrighty, I'll swing through it. I will move fairly quickly, and then we'll talk through it. Okay, so first layer is going to be our Moyu red on the Liliana plate. So this has a fair amount of engraving on it. For the first one, you want a fair amount of engraving. So there's our red image there. Silver one. Okay, so there's my little heart. Our heart. Ready to go. I'm just going to put it, it's a little one, so I'll use one of the smaller nails. There we go. Okay, so just to go through a bit slower, first I have a little clean up. This Moyu red's very vibrant, and clean up's a little bit interesting. Okay, so when I'm doing the red, I want a polish that is going to dry slowly. What I found in my testing, that if I used a metallic colour on this first image, often it would dry so quickly that I wouldn't get to do my second image on there, and the whole lot would stay on the stamper, and the first image wouldn't come away around my second heart. Okay, so this one is a slow drying one. You definitely want something slow drying. I also found that the metallics tended to dry quite quickly compared to the creams. So my advice is, if you haven't done this technique before, for this first image, use a polish that dries slowly. Obviously, a stamping nail polish is going to do that as opposed to a regular polish. I'd stick with the stamping polishes for that one. And a cream. Use a cream over a metallic. For the second one, it honestly doesn't matter. You've got the same amount of time as you would with a normal stamping, because that's your second layer, and that's the one that you're going to put on the base of your fingers. Okay, so I'll just run through it again so you can have another little look. So I just do the red as normal, and I am trying to go fairly quickly. So there's my red. And my silver. And there's my heart. So I'm just going to clean up a little bit of that. I don't want that all coming off on me. Just enough so it doesn't stick. And we'll go on here. A bit offset. Okay. Alright, so there's my second heart. I'll go through and do a few more of those, but you can see what's happened on this plate here. The red has actually stuck to the plate, and the only polish that's been picked up has been the stuff that's in the engraving. So what I recommend is that with the first image, try and choose something that has a fairly fine design and a fairly full coverage. So I wouldn't use something like this one here, because that's very fine. All those little lines would be broken up if I try to do something on top of them that's got any complexity to it. So start off with something that's fairly dense in terms of how much engraving, and that has fine detail, otherwise it's going to get lost, you're not going to see it. For the second image, my advice is use something like these hearts, something that's a very basic sort of shape, otherwise you end up with so much complexity you won't be able to make it out. So you want something that's a fairly large sort of blob. Circles, these hearts are great. There's a few other plates that work well. This rose image here works. It's pushing the boundaries, but it works quite well. So there's that little rose there on MMO7. So there are a few images to play around with. And enjoy. I'm going to go and do a few more, clean up, and we'll get some snaps. Thanks for watching.